next on the line, as concept of ideology, is the socialism. Socialism is an economic system where the government control the means of productions, distributions, and the exchange of goods and services. The government does this through its central planning committee. So most of the sensitive aspects of considered as the strategic sector of the economy are being controlled by the government. When the government takes care of this one, it allows some sector not really considered so sensitive to be controlled by the citizens. And shortly after the capitalism, you have the mixed economy where Nigeria falls in. In mixed economy, you discover that the government controls some sensitive sector of the economy and allows some area to be controlled by the private sector. In Nigeria is not practicing capitalism, Nigeria is not practicing socialism or the communism, but we are practicing the mixed economy because it allows for both the private and the government sector to be involved in taking critical decisions in what to be produced, how to produce, and when to be produced. Then communism is the extreme of socialism. Here you discover that everything is centralized. The Union of Social Republic, Union of Soviet Social Republic, Russia attempt to practice communism, but they could not because of its extreme principle. The next one is the prebendalism. Prebendalism is a concept. It has to do with the spoil system. Just like in Nigeria, we talk of corruptions. In most advanced Europe countries like America, we talk of the spoil system. So in prebendalism, you discover that it has to do with where the winner takes all, politics of Tanjaro. The winner takes all, and use the poll system to ensure that it takes care of the supporters by giving them, awarding them contracts and bringing them into the system so that they will not be complaining. It's almost the opposite of clientelism, where a political power, where the politicians becomes unpopular in the system. People get tired of his rule. What the political class will do is to pick up a politician, a young man who has a prospect. They will sponsor the guy, and as soon as the guy gets into the office, he will be outside to be dictating to the young man who is in power, this is what you should do. While in the system, you'll be looking at him as the man you have voted into power as your representative. But behind, it is the old politicians whose tenure becomes unpopular that has stepped aside and is now directing the face of the government in the name of sponsorship. This has to do with godfatherism. We see the cases in Edo State between Adam Oshomole and his political godson. Then you get to gerontocracy. Gerontocracy simply means the government of the elders. It is not the government of the youth. It is not the government of the women. It is the government of the elders. In a political system where the elders dominate the system politically, we describe that system as gerontocracy. Then aristocracy is where the wealthy people are in power. The few wealthy people are in power. The next lesson is the organs of government. The organs of government are called the arms of government. The arms of government refers to the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. It's different from what we call the layers of government or the tiers of government or the levels of government, which is federal, state, and local government. Here we are discussing the organs of government or what we call the arms of government. And as I earlier said, we have the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. First on the list is the legislature. The legislature is the organs of government responsible for lawmaking. They are the policy making in the political system. In Nigeria today, you discover that we have the legislature called the National Assembly. The National Assembly in Nigeria, we talk of the House of Senate and the House of Reps. The House of Senate and the House of Reps. The House of Senate refers to the upper house. The upper house in Nigeria is made up of 109 senators, while the House of Representatives is 360 House of Reps. Now, the legislature goes with naming many names. In America, it is called the Congress. In British, it is called the Parliament. In Japan, it is called the Diet. In Nigeria, as I said, it is called the National Assembly. So the function of the legislature is to make laws. When laws are being made, the law must be enforced or carried out or executed by the executive arms of government. So the executive arms of government is the second organs of government whose function is to implement the law made by the relative arms of government. Before laws are made, it comes in form of a bills, form of first reading, second reading, before the committee stage, report stage, the third reading, and before the president answered. So, and there are 4 types of bills. Now, you discover that in the legislature, the key function students ought to know at this level is that they are to make laws or repeal the existing laws. While the executive arms of government, as I said, is to implement the law already made by the relative arms of government. There are 2 types of legislature. We called it either the unicameral laws when it has to do with one relative, one executive, or the bicameral laws when we talk of 2 executives. Now, the type of legislature you need to know in this study is the parliamentary and the presidential system of government. The parliamentary system of government was adopted in Nigeria in the First Republic between 1960 to 1963. Between 1960 to 1966. The parliamentary system of government is called the cabinet system of government. In the cabinet system of government, you have the dual leadership. It is called the dual leadership because you have the head of state, which is a ceremonial head of state in person of late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and the head of government as the prime minister, who was in charge of the head of government with executive power in person of Alhaji Tafawa Balewa. Now, the key features of the parliamentary system of government is that there is fusions of power without absolute check and balances. We have the principle of collective responsibility. We have the principle of collective responsibility. We have the fusions of power. Still, in the parliamentary system of government, you discover that it is the legislature that is supreme, not the constitution. This is diametrically opposed to what we have in the presidential system of government that was adopted in Nigeria October 1st, 1979 to December 31st, 1983. In the presidential system of government where you have Alhaji Shehu Shagari and Alex Ekweme, the features of this system of government is that we have only one executive president in person of Alhaji Shehu Shagari. Here, we have strict separations of power with absolute check and balances. We have ministerial responsibility, where a minister that will not defend his ministry will be fired. The president has what it takes to hire and to fire. In the presidential system of government, it is the constitution that is supreme and not the parliament, as we have in the cabinet or parliamentary systems of government. Also, in the presidential system of government, you have independence of judiciary. In the presidential system of government, we have some separation of power with absolute check and balances. In the presidential system of government, we have a written constitution. Now, the third organs of government is the judiciary arms of government. The judiciary arms of government is an organs of government charged with the responsibility of interpreting the constitution and to punish the lawbreakers to serve as deterrents to others. Under separations of power, you discover that the judiciary has the power under what we call the judicial review to check the activities or certain laws that is not in accordance with the constitution of the land. The judiciary, through the judicial review, is constitutionally empowered by the constitution to declare certain actions of both the legislature and executive or tribal unconstitutional and null and void. Put differently, in the simplified way, it means that there are some policies, decisions, law taken by the executive, by the relative arms of government, implemented by the executive arms of government, which is not in accordance with the constitution of the law. The judiciary is constitutionally empowered by law to declare such policies or law or travel unconstitutional and null and void. Now, it is expected that students should know the type of court. The Supreme Court of Nigeria, which is the apex of the Constitution of Nigeria, headed by the Chief Justice of Nigeria. You have the Federal High Court, followed by from the Supreme Court of Nigeria, you have the Federal Court of Appeal, you have the Federal High Court, the Court of the State, the Sharan Court of Appeal, and the Customary Court. These are what students ought to know as far as the exam is concerned.